Let's get into some of the nitty gritty though about why it's maybe not a good idea to drink if you have Hashimoto's. Hi, Sarah Peternell here with Family Nutrition Services. Thanks for tuning into my YouTube channel today. I'm bringing an exciting and important question that I get a lot of this time of year from my clients who have Hashimoto's because they are curious about the effects of alcohol on Hashimoto's. And so today's subject is, if you have Hashimoto's, should you or can you drink alcohol? And this is a pretty big question, isn't it? What I'd like to say, first of all, is that if you know that alcohol doesn't work for you, then no, you shouldn't drink alcohol. There's really no need for it. I have some other really great videos you can check out about things to kind of help maintain your healthy liver and support holiday detox this time of year. You can check out that video. I also have some great resources on my website for detox at sarahpeternell.com. Let's get into some of the nitty gritty though about why it's maybe not a good idea to drink if you have Hashimoto's. And when I say drink, I mean like drink a lot. You know, occasionally a glass of wine here and there, or a cocktail that's maybe low in sugar and just kind of a simple drink is probably okay for you. But the thing is that with alcohol, it takes our bodies a lot of effort and a lot of work to be able to detoxify the ethanol, which is that kind of molecular piece, that molecular structure of what actually makes up the spirits or the beer or the wine. So speaking of beer, if you have Hashimoto's, you shouldn't drink beer because beer has gluten in it, and you'll want to check out my video about how gluten is related to or possibly at the root cause for a lot of people with Hashimoto's. Okay, so beer, number one, probably not a good idea because you're exposing yourself to gluten. Now, there are some good gluten-free beers out there, meaning that they taste pretty good. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you, but on the occasion that you are interested, I would suggest you try the Holidaily Brewing Company. They're here in Golden, Colorado. And Holidaily has a dedicated gluten-free brewery, which means they are not manufacturing beers that actually contain gluten and then removing it through a specialized process. This is what a lot of the brewing companies do for gluten-free beer, which means you may be still getting exposed to 20 parts per million. So that's the thing on gluten. If you're celiac, you definitely probably can benefit from this information. Now, when it comes to wine, a lot of wines are also exposed to some other things that may not be very beneficial to you. The first thing is that we know that a lot of the California wines and a lot of the American wines are exposed to high levels of glyphosate. I'm going to pin a comment to this video so you can read an article that was posted earlier this year about some studies and some research that was done on the high levels of glyphosate found in a lot of American wines. Glyphosate is a pesticide, and it is a kind of a persistent pesticide, meaning it's really hard for your body to get rid of. And glyphosate is actually thought to be one of the pesticides that is one of the primary reasons for causing leaky gut in certain individuals. So a lot of times people will even realize that when it comes to certain foods that they're not necessarily intolerant to, it's when those foods are grown in the presence of pesticides, namely glyphosate, or the food has not been grown organically. This is especially true of grains in the United States. So wines in the United States, there is evidence that a lot of these wines may contain remnants of glyphosate, which over time can accumulate in the body and would not be healthy for you. So if you're going to choose to imbibe once in a while with a glass of wine, I would say definitely source an organic wine. And there's a lot of these available. I've convinced my husband recently that the only wine he should ever be buying is definitely organic. It's going to limit your options. You may have to give up some of your favorites, but you are going to have fewer of the nasty stuff, the toxins and exposure to things like pesticides, in a cleaner and dedicated biodynamic or organic wine. So check that out. Ask maybe your local wine shop, or you can look online for a lot of these. I know that there is a business called Dry Farm Wines, and they specialize in curating and sending you all of the information about organic wines in the United States. And I'm not a representative for that company, but I do know that what they're doing is beneficial because it's helping to educate people about the benefits of organic wine. Okay, so when it comes to spirits, also there can be a lot of spirits that do also contain gluten. So you want to avoid many of the ones that come from gluten-containing grains. This is going to be like rye and bourbons, and mainly any of the ones that are distilled from grains. I would highly suggest you stay away from those. And even some of like the potato vodkas, different gins, and even tequila in some cases may have some cross-contamination. So I feel like it's always just kind of a crapshoot, honestly. It's a bit of a risk, especially if you're drinking out, at a bar or in public or at a party where you just don't really know where the alcohol is coming from. It's a sure bet that you're probably getting some stuff in your specialty drink that night that you maybe don't want to be exposed to. So doing your research, knowing which kinds of spirits, wines, and beers are really the best choices for you, and then drinking in moderation, and I mean minimally. Special occasions, skip the like Tuesday night just because wine. Skip the spirits, the beer, and the wine that you know is not good for you. And when you're going to imbibe, you definitely want to do so only occasionally and save those for special occasions. And then if you're going to drink alcohol, keep in mind that alcohol is known to be inflammatory. And so one of the biggest components of autoimmune thyroiditis or any other autoimmune condition is that the body is often riddled with inflammation. And so the autoimmune process is obviously the fact that the immune system is not working correctly. And there may be systemic inflammation happening in places where it shouldn't be happening. We know that inflammation can actually be a good thing if you cut your finger, but we don't want to have inflammation elsewhere in the body. So the exposure to alcohol is increasing our body's inflammatory processes. And if you're already riddled with inflammation, meaning that you feel symptomatic, or you are maybe in what I would call like a flare with some of the Hashimoto's inflammatory symptoms, such as fibromyalgia like pain, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, brain fog, or just kind of fuzzy thinking. These are all related to inflammation. So those are a good cue to your body that now is not the time to have any special cocktails or glasses of wine. The other thing to keep in mind, and you can read about this on my blog where I discuss the genetic variations, including MTHFR, is that a large number of people who have Hashimoto's also have some methylation or detox variations in their genes, which means that they don't detoxify very well. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but you can read those on my blog at sarahpeternell.com to understand that if you have a known MTHFR genetic variation, alcohol may not be a good choice for you because your body may have more difficulty than, say, the person that you are having a glass of wine with in detoxifying that for the next day. So the inflammatory components and then the genetic variations, which may decrease our body's ability to detoxify, those are some other reasons why just making good choices around alcohol is really important. What I want to say about alcohol in general is that it really robs the body. And this is true if you have Hashimoto's or not, or if you have autoimmune disease or not. Alcohol robs the body of critical and important essential nutrients that your body needs to function happily and healthfully and normally every single day in and every single day out. You need minerals like magnesium, and alcohol will deplete that with regular consumption. And I'm really just talking about one drink per day for women can reduce your magnesium levels in your body. It can also reduce critical B vitamins, which are essential for, again, those genetic variations if you have MTHFR. So it can reduce your B vitamins. It can also cause other changes, obviously, to your gut lining, and it can cause other changes just in the overall sort of cellular response and cellular health of your body because it requires a lot of antioxidants to help combat those free radicals and the free radical damage that occurs from the the elevation in inflammatory processes throughout the body. So I'm not 100% advocating that you quit drinking altogether. I think it's important to research different alcohol choices and discover and learn what maybe is the best choice for you. And then, of course, I'm also suggesting that if you are symptomatic and you know that you currently are in an inflammatory flare, or you're having inflammatory signs and symptoms as a part of having Hashimoto's, that's the time when you want to definitely avoid it and choose something else, maybe like a Pellegrino or a sparkling water or kombucha or hot tea. There's lots of other things that you can enjoy. Even a fresh pressed juice with a lime wedge on some ice can be a really happy and healthy mocktail. Finally, what I want to reiterate is just that in general, drinking alcohol does present, again, as I said, a number of different co-deficiencies of nutrients. And there is a lot of research that indicates that, drinking on a regular basis is just bad for our health in general. So those are some of the reasons why, if you have Hashimoto's, you may not want to drink. If you are going to drink, know what choices are best for you. Make sure that you're eating food, that you're getting plenty of protein, that you're also staying hydrated, and that you're only going to enjoy 1 or maybe 2 drinks on a special occasion. And live some of the best lifestyle practices and some of the best things that you can for yourself surrounding those days, like maybe follow up, a holiday party with a detox bath the next day. Check out my video on those detox practices that you can watch for some more ideas. Now, probably your last question is wondering if I drink alcohol. And I do, but I don't drink it as often as I used to when I was younger, and I definitely save alcohol for special occasions like holidays, and I try to drink very mindfully. Certainly with the choices that we make of alcohol that we purchase. If we're going to drink beer or wine in our home, we don't really drink a lot of spirits, but beer and wine in our home, we make wise choices, as I was discussing earlier. And I'm very conscientious about the way that I treat my body before and after special occasions, to really help myself recover and to stay hydrated and to feel my best. So take this with a grain of salt. Take this advice, in the way that works best for you and your life. But I do want to share this information as we go into one of the busiest times of the year, one of the most exciting and sometimes most stressful times of the year. People ask me this question a lot around, just the kind of the inundation of alcoholic beverages all around us at just about every maybe social occasion that you'll enjoy during this festive season. But really remember that taking care of yourself and taking care of your health is the most important thing. So thanks so much for tuning in and watching. I really appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe and share if these videos are helpful for you and they might be helpful to other people that you know. And if you want to turn on your little notifications bell, you'll get an update when I release a new video every Tuesday. So thanks so much for checking this out, and I'll be back soon. Bye.